Welcome to Real Estate Radio LA. This is Gil.Azcarate, the realtor to the stars, and you're all stars to me. The realtor company, the best company I think in the world. 20 years of experience. I've been with a lot of companies. I am with a company called eXp Realty. It is the new age of real estate. We are in the cloud, but I'm here for you. So please reach out to me anytime and go to realestateradiola.com. And let me know how I can help you. But our show is dedicated to real estate right here in Southern California. And I am saving the American dream, one show at a time. So real estate radio, real estate, I should say, is the greatest business in the world and the greatest country in the world and what used to be the greatest city in the world. And I'm going to do my part. I'm tired of sitting on the sidelines and staying quiet and just selling real estate and making money and raising my kids in a world that's going to hell in a handbasket. And I'm going to do my part, and hopefully I think you're going to enjoy this show because it is real estate related. But I want you to get involved. But first, because there's so many lawyers out there, my DRE number is 0129-8646. This program is for information and entertainment purposes only. Please consult your CPA or qualified professional or attorney and take their advice. But if I was you, I would take some notes because school is in session and get ready to learn something. You've already won the lottery for being here in the United States. You've made a lot of money in real estate. What are we going to do with it? How can we sort of make this world a better place instead of just sitting on our hands and saying how blessed we are and passing time? So my topic today is going to be very, very interesting. I have someone I reached out to, and I am so glad he made time to fit me into his busy schedule. But I have Pastor Brian Eugene Hawkins on the phone, and he is with an organization called CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org, CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org. And Pastor, welcome to the show, buddy.
Hey, thank you, sir, and I really appreciate the time and the opportunity to be on this show with you.
Well, you are wonderful and a joy to talk to, and I'm learning a lot, and that's what I love about this show is not only teaching, but learning myself and really understanding all the white noise that comes out at us and all these everybody has a certain opinion on things, and it's usually really skewed. And I like to break things down in a simple manner. And I reached out to you guys because CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org. First of all, Pastor, tell me a little bit about you. Tell me about you, married, kids, and where you live, and tell me a little bit about you because I want to know the man behind the message.
Absolutely, sir. And, I'm a public servant, first and foremost. I serve the American people. I'm a pastor, as you introduced, but I'm also an elected official, councilman in the city of San Jacinto, Riverside County, and I'm currently in a campaign race for the 25th Congressional District, which kind of laps into three counties, San Bernardino, Riverside, and Imperial County. I have children at the ages of 3 to 24. My two middle children, they're in the 3rd and 4th grade here in San Jacinto. And so, I'm a father, an advocate, a pastor, and a public servant.
Amen to that. And that's what we need to do, right? It's not just, and you've got small children, and you've got, I think, a son going to college?
Yeah, so he's graduated already. So he graduated from University of Texas, El Paso. So yes, sir. So
wow,
already got one down and 3 to go.
And I know they're really proud of their father, and he's making a difference. So thank you again for being with us. So tell me a little bit about what got you going, what got you started in this particular topic about California schools and choice.
Well, these last couple of years dealing with the public school system, the emergency lockdown orders really put education on the back burner. Seeing the children struggle, my children, especially my son, he has what they call an IEP, an individual educational plan, and having him sitting in front of a computer, Zoom, and trying to get him to learn. And you don't get do-overs in life, and not knowing how long the emergency order is going to last, I had to take actions, and so. Along with Harmeet Dillon and Mark Moiser, I was a part of a lawsuit to Gavin Newsom to open the schools back up. Right now, it's currently under appeal. We actually won portion of that lawsuit, and so of course, the government overreach, kind of pulled back on that and filed an appeal. But from there, I said, I got to take it a step further. There are other parents out there that are suffering, a lot of children that are suffering, and so along with Mike Alexander and Del Broom and the School Choice Initiative, created the Educational Freedom Act, which created an educational savings plans for kids, and I wanted to set up a legacy for education. The public school system need to be held accountable for a lot of its failures, not just for my children, but for generations of children.
And break it down for me. So what exactly are we trying to put on the ballot? And we'll break it down. So freedom of choice of picking your school. Tell me how much credit. So you and I have talked about this. So we're talking about $14,000 per student. And what are they going to do with that?
Absolutely. And so there's two things that go along with this. One, it allows the parents to pick the school that they want to go to. The money follows the student and not the school. And as you heard me say earlier, the schools have been failing. Children, can barely read. Only 19 and 21% of kids that graduate can read above fourth grade proficiency. It's the reason why they came out with the TV show Smarter Than the Fifth Grader. In 2013, a woman by the name of Tanya McDowell in Connecticut was sentenced to 5 years in prison because she wanted to use her babysitter's address to send her kids to a good school. Think about that for a moment. Sentenced to 5 years in prison simply because she wanted to send her kids to a better school. Because a lot of individuals, especially African Americans and Latinos, know a lot of these public schools are failing the children. They're more concerned with academics. They're more concerned with attendance than they are with academics. And so with the School Choice Initiative, the money follows the child. And you get up to $14,000, which is not new money. We're asking for taxpayers' money that's already there. That $14,000, which is actually, $7,000 to $8,000 less than what the public school systems are asking for. Some schools, some private schools, are operating at $6,000 to $7,000 per kid. So imagine sending a kid to a private school with $14,000 budget per school year, and they don't use all that money. Well, that money rolls over into an education savings account, which means that by the time that kid graduates from high school, they'll have money that can be used towards going to college. So when you hear these petitions to having President Biden counsel student debt, imagine starting college with $10,000, $15,000 to start with.
Or more than that, if you think about it. So again, we're going to break this down. So $14,000 check comes to you, and you vote with that money. So you take that, and you can go to a private school, right? Or you can go to a charter school because you're sort of voting with your feet. And you take that, and you go to a private school because your public school isn't doing anything, and it's unsafe, and there's fights, and it's out of control. And you take that $14,000 voucher and you go to a private school and they're only charging $10,000, right? So that extra $4,000 goes into this savings plan, correct?
Absolutely, yes, sir.
So after 10 years, you've got $40,000 saved up. And that is amazing in itself. And somebody like me who pays for private school, and in my taxes, I pay for public school. So I get the privilege of paying for both. And this is something Donald Trump has wanted to do, and I think DeVos was big in doing that. And now Biden doesn't want to do it because he's bought and paid for by the unions, the school unions. Correct?
That's the only issue. It has nothing to do with the children. It has everything to do with the union. And I think every parent should understand that money that gets sent to a school, especially Title I funded money that comes in through the public school system, it goes to the union, it goes to the attorneys, and what's left over goes to the students.
And I remember you were saying it's like, we throw money at the problem. We throw money at homelessness. Is it getting better? Nope. It's grown by 60% in the last 2 years. We throw money at the education. And we're saying, oh my God, our poor teachers, we want to give them more money. We want to give more money for school. It's for the kids. And at the end of the day, it never gets better. It seems to just get worse. And you were what was your example about a contractor?
Yeah, absolutely. When you think about it, and you're absolutely right. if you hired a contractor to, redo your roof, and 3 years later to come back and they're asking you for more money, you still see the hole in your roof. Are you going to continue to give money to this contractor? And that's just like anything in life. People are tired of being screwed over, and our children are being screwed over, and it's actually spilling over into other areas of life. Did you know that 75% of the men behind bars don't have a high school diploma? So when you talk about fixing the prison system, prison reform, if you fix the education system, you will fix the prison system.
Amen.
You'll fix, because now people have a purpose. They actually have, a job, a career path, instead of just graduating. I was reading an article in the newspaper the other day in Baltimore. A young lady graduated from high school and not read. And in her comments, she said, there are many more like me.
And they're just kicking the can down, and we broke this down. They're just kicking the can down the street and just making money. You always have to follow the money. Okay, so when we look at this, and you and I were talking about this, why is it that, and real quick, and we can extend because I'm going to take a little break in a little bit, but start on this part. Why is it that some politicians do not want COVID to end?
In 2020, we saw something unique happen. The emergency order created an opportunity to send out mail-out ballots. And you heard President Biden make a comment, I got the most votes in history. Well, of course, people got the most votes in history because some people voted for the first time, or maybe they didn't, but their ballot was cast. There were many ballots that were picked up. In California, ballot harvesting is legal. People don't understand what that means. Anyone can pick up your ballot. You don't know, you don't know where it's going. You don't know the process of it. All you know is somebody showed up to your door with an ID and said, I'm here to pick up your ballot. Now, you say that 2022, they found a strategy to continue to, win election cycles. With this emergency order, you can send out mail-out ballots because not everybody opted in to have a mail-out ballot. The mail-out ballot system was designed for people who couldn't make it down to vote. And now we're creating this emergency order to where it's justifying why we need to send ballots out.
Yeah, when you said that to me, it really it seems so simple, but it was unbelievable when you said that. That's why they don't want it to end. They want the mail-out ballot to be enacted because COVID is still here, and they want it to last till November at least. And
absolutely. And this is just California. If you go and look at the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote, that language was written inside that legislation. They wanted to pass that to make that federal law.
Hey, Pastor, we're going to take a little break right now, but I want you to stick around. So this is Gil.Azcarate with Real Estate Radio LA and realestateradio.la.com. All right, Pastor. So now we can reset. So we are going to continue that topic, the COVID topic, on why they don't want it to end, right? And so we continue there. Then we are going to go into what can we do to help you, all right, and get this enacted. So bottom line is we need people to go to the website, download the petition, correct? Get people to sign it. We'll talk about how important that is and how detailed that is. And like you said, 22 million voters, blah, blah, blah. All we need is about 1 million. But we really need about 3 million because they're going to try to find a way to throw away 2 million.
Absolutely. They won't sign it right.
Okay. And talk a little bit, put a little pep in your step and a little bit louder. Okay?
Okay, yes, sir.
All right. And then we'll be, give me a second. Testing. Okay. Welcome back. This is Gil.Azcarate with Real Estate Radio LA, and I have the Pastor Brian Eugene Hawkins on the phone with me. Great interview. And Pastor, please go ahead and continue where we're talking about how some politicians do not want COVID to end and why, and then we're going to follow the money.
Yeah, absolutely, and thank you. When you look at the way in which the election was won in 2020, mail-out ballots, now, legislators have introduced the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Act. And if you look at some of the language in there, it's simply asking us to do what they did in the 2020 election, just make it legal, just make it law by saying, hey, everybody should get a mail-out ballot. and here in California with ballot harvesting. And so this is just a unique way of controlling the election process. This is people worry about election integrity and election fraud. This right here makes it that much difficult to find out who's voting. With mail-out ballots, we don't know who's turning in a ballot. If somebody is actually filling out their ballot, or does somebody pick their ballot up for them? And so it's so important for us to, understand why a lot of these mandates should be lifted, so we can move away from the election. We can move away from the emergency order, and we can, restore order back into our country,
our voting
make
system.
Sure that voting isn't being, taken for granted
and completely manipulated. It's one thing, everything's supposed to be controlled. What makes this country great is there's control with police, there's control in our voting system. Now we've completely lost control in the name of the almighty COVID. And it just dawned on me exactly why they don't want COVID to end, and it disgusts me. It makes me sad, and I'm so happy there's just people like you that are really dedicating their lives to something like this. And I want to go into how can we help? What is it that somebody right now listening can do right now to get involved and to make a difference?
Well, we're in the fourth quarter. And if anything has taught me, about fourth quarter comeback, I feel like the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons, 28-3, with a few minutes on the clock. But there are 22 million registered voters in the state of California. Technically we just need 1 million, but the way in which this is going is being super scrutinized. Every signature has to be right. Every eye on the, if you have a dot on your eye, everything has to be perfect. Like, you literally have to sign it the way in which your voter registration, and they're going to be going through this with a fine-tooth comb. So instead of just saying 1 million, we need 3 million signatures.
Because they're going to try to throw out. They're going to try to throw out 2 million of them, and it amazes me because I did sign something the other day to recall Gascon, and the guy who was doing it saying, "Hey, don't get out of the box. Be really, strict about this. You cannot. You have to spell out the word street. You have to spell out avenue." Right? They're being really, because they're going to try to find a reason to throw this thing out. Meanwhile, this harvesting and these mail-out ballots, nobody's checking them, right? There's just a bunch of mail-out, a huge mailing, and nobody's really looking at it. And here they're going to scrutinize every tiny little thing. And it's amazing if you travel around the world and you ask somebody about, hey, do you think it's racist to ask somebody for their ID to vote? Every country in the world goes, of course not. Every country in the world asks for ID. In this country, we don't, and because it's incredible. And here it is on a recall or on a ballot initiative like this. They're looking for this tiny little misspelling to throw it out. So you're right. We don't need 1 million. We need 3 million. So we need people to go to CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org. Okay, and in there you're going to find to download the petition. They're going to give you the rules. Everybody download petitions and go get your neighbors to sign it, and do it right so we can turn these in and help the pastor and help this organization really make a difference. So CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org. Get a petition, and if you're listening to this show that we're going to run Saturday, there is going to be a petition drive also on there in Pasadena. Go and support it. Go sign. And get involved. That's going to be this Saturday in Pasadena. I don't have the church it's going to be at, but I want people to hear the show and go there. And I know, Pastor, you won't be there, but I know you're doing your part. Again, tell me about how we can get a hold of the organization. What phone number do you want them to call, just in case they can't find it on CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org?
Absolutely, and I want to thank you for this. One of the things I want to really share too is that, yesterday we lost a giant in the radio industry, and, a good friend of mine, Don Diggs. And I know that before, his death and, before he got ill, he was really strongly pushing school choice. In Riverside County, he was the chairman of the Riverside County GOP, and he was really big behind making sure that we got out there, we went door to door, talked to our neighbors, neighbor to neighbor, and getting people to sign up. And so I want to honor his legacy by getting this on the ballot. This is something that he talked about, all year long. We get this on the ballot. This is a victory. And this is not a Republican thing. It's unfortunate that it's being labeled, a Republican initiative. This is not a Republican. This is not a Democrat initiative. This is for the children initiative.
You start messing with people's kids, and you're going to see. You're going to see some parents getting really hostile, like they have been doing at the school board meetings, and they're just fed up with 80,000 people being able to go to the Super Bowl and not wear a mask. And meanwhile, my 11-year-old and your kids have to wear a mask while they're doing sports outside.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so, if you want to get involved, you can give me a call. You can call us at 951-390-3587. You can definitely go to the website, CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org, download the petition, get your friends involved, get your church involved, get your organizations involved, your nonprofit. Let's get this on the ballot. Let's really give our children a fighting chance for the future of this country.
And they can get a hold of you at that same number at 951-390-3587, or go to CaliforniaSchoolChoice.org. And can they get a hold of you if they want to help you in your campaign as well?
Absolutely. My website is Hawkins, F-O-R, Hawkins for Congress 2022.com. Hawkins for Congress 2022.com. My social media information is Real Pastor Brian. Brian spelled with an I. I was born before 1980, so I spell it with an I. And this is a year that we really win this country back.
Amen.
We're always fighting for freedom of this country, and this is the year we fight for the freedom and move it forward.
Amen. Hey, JJ, can we still say amen in this country?
Yeah, well,
still can?
According to Congress last year, it was a man and a woman, but it's always good to say amen.
Amen. Hey, Pastor, I got to get going. God bless you, sir, in your work and in your family and in your message. I want to have the pleasure of meeting you one day and see how we can do this again and help you and spread the word. But God bless you, and thank you for taking my call and this interview on such a short notice.
Thank you, and God bless you too, sir.
Amen.